Harry, we're over here at the Hummingbird CCA workbench, and we're talking about trout. So what do we want to? Yeah, let's do it.
Start off with a good rod and reel combo. The Shadow Stalker.
Yeah.
Right here, it's lightweight graphite. You can feel the bite.
Right.
We've got that 832 braid from Suffix, and the new Helios reel. This thing is so light, Rick. You can cast all day long with this bad boy, and it's just a comfortable setup to fish with. It's got the no foam butt on it, because all these foams butts that you get, you don't feel the bite that well with all the graphite blanks going all the way through now.
Right.
You know, the Kuma stepped up the plate, and they've come up with a nice combo right here.
All right, so we got the combo, but what are we going to put on it, Harry?
All right, well, trout fishing, obviously, you're going to look, some people like the deeper waters, the little holes and ledges and stuff like that, channels, which we all, trout fishing, you're always seeking and you're moving around and everything like that. You can start out with something with just a simple trout type of deal, trout like that. And what I'll show you though, you got to be really careful when you're picking out, because some of these grubs, different styles have, like that's a 1/4 ounce, this is a 1/4 ounce, and this is a 1/4 ounce. This is the one from
VMC boxer jig.
Now look at the difference between the bite on these two here. If you put them like this and this, when you put the grubs on there, the bite turns into nothing on this little tiny hook. So you that wider gap hook is so much better. So when you put the grub, so now you only have that much of the hook sticking up.
Yeah, look, there's a good comparison.
There, and just that little bit makes a big difference when you're casting. You'll get a lot of bumps, a lot of hits, but you're not going to hook as many fish.
Right.
And it just works out really, really well.
That's a good advice, advice.
Yeah, and that's just something that we learned. Now, that's something that we also like to use is a jig that's going to fall flat. There's several different jigs. Bucktail jigs. The deeper the water, you want to go a little heavier. You want a jig that's going to always fall with the hook up.
Right.
Hook up is always good. If the jig's constantly falling over, like a lima bean style, it's just going to snag the bottom, snag the weed and everything like that, and it's just not as good. And then, of course, you have different boxer style jig heads for throwing a shrimp on there.
Yeah, so you'd take your shrimp and just hook it on here.
And just hook them up where he's, back up.
Always important that when you have your yard fishing with live bait, that you have a barb on the hook, because the weight of the jig will hit hard, and if there's no barb, or a very small barb, a lot of times the shrimp just falls off.
And that happens a lot.
I promise you, that's tested and true.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I learned
by all of us. By all of us. Now there's different different deals. You got the rattling floats. You tie your line on the top of here, and then you're going to use your leader from the bottom of this. Now you're not going to want a 6-foot, 7-foot leader, because you're going to everything's short, so you can cast this.
Right.
And some of these are weighted, some are not. What you'll do is you can use with shrimp or with just regular jig heads and stuff like that. And you're going to wing it out and just pop it, just let it sit, and the trout it goes crazy. And there's different styles. There's less expensive ones.
Little
rattles in them. These are weighted.
That's the difference, right? Between the green and the white.
Right. Your standard is like that, and that's your big difference. If you don't want, say, if you just like a penfish, go ahead and use a non-weighted float. You can wing that out.
Now, Harry, I see you got a de-hooker, an R&R de-hooker. What for?
Dude, this is so important to me. Every trout that comes up, and I release them, they have a very soft mouth. Just don't grab it with a wet rag or just grabbing it and stuff like that. Just lean over, take it, and just de-hook it to come off real simple. And just reverse the jig or with the lure, whatever you've got on there, and just shake it, and they pop right off. And it's a simple, easy way. Everybody uses it for bait, but I use it like crazy for
So to
trout.
make sure that I have that right, you don't want to grab the fish with your hand, because it does
the slime.
And it knocks the slime off. And then I've seen it where you've got fingerprints on the fish. If you put him in a cooler or a live well to take him home.
Sure.
In a few minutes, you look in there, he's discolored.
You got your handprint on him, and it looks terrible.